Hello and welcome to Skimo Gold, the premier podcast and YouTube show for ski mountaineering interviews and race analysis. Hey, quick shout out to my buddy Peter Kelly, getting into the Skimo, trained for the power of four. Peter and I were out skiing the other day up there at Monarch Mountain Resort. Starts at 11,000 feet and goes up from there. And I tell you what, it is always cold at Monarch. Peter was asking me, number one, how are your hands freezing? And number two, how are you doing your transitions so fast? And I said, Peter, well, practice is one for the transitions. And number two is my gloves, the Camp G Comp Warm. When it's cold and you're up there in the wind, you pull the mitten over the hand and it stays totally warm. And then when it's time for the transition, pull the mitten off. You got a nice thin glove and your fingers are highly movable and able to do those transitions. Believe it or not, Peter now has his own pair of the Camp G Comp Warm, and he's going to be shredding it up. So way to go, buddy. Way to go also to today's guests, Christopher Carter and Emily's Von Clem. We are talking about the Kulshan Randonnée, super cool Skimo race up there in the Pacific Northwest. You can find it at snowgoatskimo.com. You're going to hear all about it. And this is, I'm really excited because it's an epic adventure. It's in the spirit of the Elk Mountains Grand Traverse, maybe the Power of Four, and even more so, the big European grand courses like the PDG. That's what we're talking about here with Kulshan. It's backcountry, it's trees, it's variable conditions, it's glaciers, it's a team race where you're roped up at times between teammates and you need to show that you have the skills to do that safely. It's an adventure. It's super cool. And they also have, more of an entry level course as well, which I think is great for some people. So big thanks to CJ and Emily's for joining us. Listeners, I hope you check out this race. Maybe you sign up and do it this year in May, or maybe it's something to, train for and put on as kind of a bucket list sort of goal. Thanks as always to Redmond Real Salt for helping us keep going as well. Check out their Relight product. You can go to redmond.life and put in Skimo Gold, all lowercase, for 15% off at redmond.life, excuse me. All right, folks, it's time to roll on Skimo Gold. Chris and Emily's, welcome to the Skimo Gold podcast. It is fantastic to have you here today. We're talking about the Kulshan Randonnée. This thing looks awesome. American listeners, you may have heard of some of these epic races in Europe, the Grand Course events, the Pierramenta, the PDG, and so forth. Well, here's a race, it seems to me, we know it's on U.S. soil, and I think it's very similar to these epic backcountry experiences, particularly kind of like the PDG, the Patrol de Glacier. That's a team race. It's an epic journey. There's glaciers, there's danger, there's short roping, there's helping each other out. That's what you're doing in the Kulshan Randonnée race in May. I think May 16th, if my notes are right. So a few notes on that. I'll just give the overview, and then we're going to hear from you guys. You're the experts. We want to hear about where the idea came from, stories about the races, whatever you want to share. I think people are going to want to hear. So the Kulshan Randonnée, folks, check out snowgoatskimo.com. As I said, it's European style. It's 100% backcountry. It's highly technical. One thing I like, there's a long course and a short course, which I think is great. The short course, if someone's getting into this and they want to explore it, we're looking at something like 8 miles with about 5,000 feet of climbing. And then the big one, the epic adventure, the glaciers, the short roping, the team stuff, that's about 22 miles with 11,000 feet of gain. I haven't done the race, but it seems to me that it really is. We've talked about the Grand Traverse ski on here. This is an adventure. It's a real, the course is set by nature. It includes snow, ice, trees, glacier. It includes an active volcano in the form of Mount Baker. Not that it will be erupting on you, but like just to be in that area sounds really cool. And as you say on the website, it's big kid territory in terms of, some technical skills, some roping up. Like it's not just going up and down the groomer, at Copper Mountain or something, which is cool. And that's why there's people traveling already from, various states in the West and in the East Coast going up there to the Pacific Northwest to give this thing a shot. Another thing I like on the website at the very bottom, there's a scholarship for, if there's a team out there that's interested, that's struggling with access or comes from a less represented community, maybe check out that scholarship option, which could be a great thing. So anyway, that's about all I have to say about it. Let's go next to you, Chris. What should we know about this thing?
Yeah. Ski mountaineering racing is an incredible sport on its own. And, next month, almost exactly in a month, we're going to see it in the Olympics. But what's beautiful about this race is we are tending the soul of our sport, the long form and the teams racing, which goes back to 1928 with the original Chamonix Olympics with the patrol race. And we're going to cheer on our friends across all the national teams next month. Like I can't wait to watch Cam and Anna and so many friends from Italy and other nations represent. But a lot of us in the sport of ski mountaineering, we have a deep love for these longer form disciplines. And so the Kulshan is an homage to that. Kulshan is an homage to that form of classical ski mountaineering racing, and really the beauty of being with your teammate out in the mountains. And so I would add, having the privilege to race Piramenta, Tour de Rotor. One of the things that I always felt a little missing to me coming back home was that feeling of being in big wild mountains. We have the power of wilderness skiing in the United States, and especially the North Cascades. The spirit of adventure skiing is still alive. And so this sport, we tried to really capture the spirit and celebrate wild mountain skiing. And so I'd say it's a little different than what you'll find in Europe, but we try to bring some of the same rigor and quality that you might find in a grand course race, and everything we've learned from our brothers and sisters over there, but with a special spirit of wild mountain skiing that you find wilderness ski touring in the United States.
Yeah. Oh man, I love it. I love a lot of it. I mean, first of all, just the disciplines of Skimo, like this is part of the conversation, right? The whole save Skimo thing, like, are the Olympic disciplines, are they taking away from the soul? Or I think about, if people were into gravel biking, the spirit of gravel, right? That was like a hot take for a few years there. What's the spirit of gravel? How should gravel races happen? Skimo is kind of at a similar moment. And at least for me, I'm like, it's all good. We got an awesome little niche sport and it's in the Olympics, and that's sweet. And here are some awesome disciplines that are fun to watch and have great fitness and skills and everything. And there's other stuff too. And it doesn't have to be either one. I mean, I think about the sport of running, like how many ways are there to do a running race from, a 200 meter on the track to a 5K road run to a marathon, to the UTMB. And they're all great. They're just different. So yes, I mean, this is totally filling a niche there. And Chris, I love what you said about, I hadn't thought of this, but you go in Europe and these courses are absolutely epic and they're really hard and steep and technical. And maybe I'm ruffling feathers, but they're not that wild in terms of like, there's a lift right over there, or there's a town, right down there. And you're right. I mean, thank goodness for public lands in the US, which we have now. And by golly,
100%.
let's keep these puppies but because of public lands in the US, we have these vast spaces where you can go and everyone owns the land. And that's what you're doing, and I know that that's hard. I was just talking to Mark Koob, a race director here in Colorado, and he wants to have some of these backcountry adventures. It's hard to get the permits. I can only imagine, how you guys have had to set this up and build relationships. Like, it doesn't happen overnight. So way to go. You made it happen, and boom, here it is. Emelise, what do you think about the Kulshan Randonnée?
Oh man. I so can't speak to the origins of the race, but really as an athlete, just so grateful that this race was dreamed up and big amount of work and coordination and planning. I mean, it's an incredibly ambitious race to put on. As soon as I found out about it, immediately signed up the first year. That first year, uh, had to be postponed because of weather conditions. Because to CJ's point, uh, it's a wild race. You are truly out there in the backcountry, and the race organizers are going to do everything that they can to make sure that it's still a safe and reasonable experience. But for me, again, as an athlete, just so grateful that a race like this exists. I think CJ talked about the heart and soul, the spirit of Skimo, and like
Hmm.
I really did get into ski mountaineering for the long courses, the sort of traversing an entire mountain range, the narrative of the up and down and standing on peaks. And the first few races that I participated in were individual races. But when I got introduced to the concept of a teams race, I just think that is so special in the world of really endurance sports overall. Like, you could say running 100 miler. Yes, it's a team sport in the sense that you have crew, but there's just this additional dynamic that gets added when you truly are, bungeed to a teammate. And
Hmm.
I've gotten to race a couple of teams races, including a team world uh, world World Cup race, and I love what you have to navigate with your teammate. Someone might be feeling stronger, someone might be feeling weaker. You are in that together. And ultimately, there's of course, the part of the reason you're there, there's a safety component. And Kolshan was the first race I'd participated in that was teams of three. And so that added a whole nother team dynamic, which I thought was just so fun to figure out, where it's not just about your fitness and how you're feeling in any given moment, but it's about how all of you are doing and how can you work together and support each other. Um, and then the other thing I'd say is just again for kind of where I'm coming from in the sport, like I definitely got into skimo from a endurance nerd angle. Like I just love pushing myself. I loved
Hmm.
having this winter complement to running. And it was so fun to have this Kolshan race I'll say looming over me the whole season in a way, because there's a whole bunch of technical skills that you need to
Hmm.
either have or learn, practice, and develop to really participate in this sport. And so all of the glacier travel skills, that was new to me. And as a result, like got to spend, the whole season sort of learning, practicing, figuring
Hmm.
out those skills that were going to be necessary. And I think that is like such a gift in a way, because those are skills that otherwise can be intimidating to learn, or like when are you going to get to use them, and kind of where do you start. And I think Kolshan creates this great environment where even if you don't necessarily have those, like resources to learn them and then put them into to practice. And I thought that was again such a like it was this, they say where it's like good to put yourself in environments where you feel a little nervous because something is
Hmm.
new and you're pushing yourself. And this was very much that, not just from a like, of course it's this epic long hard course that physically is challenging, but it was also the technical skills, the mental challenge of,
Yeah.
hey, there's glacier travel that you need for this race.
Yeah. Oh man. Awesome, Emily. So I can feel your excitement and enthusiasm. And it's getting me pumped, like I love adventure racing. I love skimo. This is an adventure race on skis with that team component. And the longer you're out there, everyone on the team is gonna have ups and downs, and everyone's gonna have times where they're the strongest person, and everyone's gonna have times where they need some help. And that's the magic of this kind of stuff. Any
Yeah.
favorite components of the course for you, Emily's?
Oh man. I mean it was super cool. I haven't skied too much in that part of the country, and I love like the beginning. You're walking up alongside this like glacial river, and just really
Nice.
cool landscape. More than the course is incredible, and I loved every minute of it. More than that, what I also want to just call out is like the true sense of community. Like this
Mm,
is a smaller, it's a smaller group. To If you're participating in it, you really want it. We started out of this small town of concrete. Everyone's there the night before. CJ put on a great kind of race kickoff. uh but it felt like both leading up to in the hours leading up to the race, and then during the race itself with all the other teams that were out there, and then the post race celebration at all, it really felt like, hey, we are like all a part of thing to experience this really cool,
yeah.
unique thing
Wow.
these folks have put on in the US. And so I don't know, I think we all have different motivations for why we throw ourselves into these things, but I think a lot of us are searching for that community and that
Hmm.
communal experience. And I think I felt that at Kulshan more than many races. Like it really felt like, hey, everyone was so stoked and so grateful to get to be a part of this inaugural thing together.
Yeah. Wow. That's about the biggest compliment that I think could be offered to a race organizer. And so yeah, Chris, back to you. Tell us more. I mean, the history of this event. Where'd you get the idea? What were the examples? And tell us like about this place. It seems to me really has a specialness that's been around, hundreds of years, even thousands of years. Tell us more, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, Kulshan, like a lot of the coastal volcanoes, have been home for all the Coast Salish folks for time immemorial. And one of the most incredible things about, this race is it's it ties it all together. It ties
Mm,
together all the types of landforms, and you experience it all out on the course. Back in the day, there was a marathon. There was a race up and over Mount Baker
mm,
um, on foot, and that
yeah.
was really what when Richard Kresser was trying to organize this. He was talking to those organizers, and how did they make that happen? I mean, this is a serious relief into
Yeah.
alpine, very very rapidly changing coastal mountain conditions.
Mhm.
And, that became sort of something to riff on. And from there, we tried to let the mountain speak for itself. Like, where should we climb and where should we descend? And how do we bring the most amount of guardianship to this race? Both, how do we protect the mountain? How do we develop relationships with local people, both with the tribes, but also the local communities who live at the base of that, largely kind of post-industrial logging towns. But how do we just have a relationship with the mountain?
Mm,
All the way from who we're planning with, being in stride with the town of Concrete. They've been incredible hosts. All the way to what's the sort of impact we want to leave on the racers that makes them feel more connected, and also ensuring that we don't leave a trace on the mountain.
mhm.
One of the reasons why we can do this race where we can do it is that there's this little designation of public land that almost reaches the summit of Mount Baker volcano, Kulshan,
Mm,
and
yeah.
that allows us some motorized travel. And
Mm,
so part of that crux of how do we get rescue teams out there, how do we get food out there, is possible
yeah.
because of this really unique land use, but it's attached to this really deep kind of relationship with how that mountain and how that mountain range has been interacted with by skiers and local people for, hundreds and thousands of years, as you mentioned. Um, so part of what I think we wanted to do is we don't necessarily want to just have a race where people go and, celebrate being fast. This is a celebration of mountain skiing. And I think the year where we had Emily's and team along, we were able to capture that last year too, under more difficult conditions. But being able to say, we're going to put up the biggest course we can in good dialogue with the mountain and safety. But it's always an opportunity to get mountain skiers, ski mountaineers, ski mountain enthusiasts all together and really connected to each other and the mountains. And so being
Yeah.
able to bring in some art, some film, some shared meals, for me, that's
Cool.
fundamental as an organizer for these events. Is like we're gonna go run around the mountains on our skis, but how does it make sure that it changes our relationship in a good way to the mountains and each other? And so I think our goal is to put on a world class event. If not, the goal is to put on a really good mountain culture, something that connects us to each other in the landscape.
Yeah. Wow. Good job. Good job making it happen. Sounds to me like you're doing it right. If you're listening to this, folks, and you think you want to try the Kulshan Randonnée, snowgoatskimo.com. Registration is open now. Again, I think the race is in May. Let's talk as we wrap up in the final 5 minutes or so. How do you get ready for something like this? And Emily, she might be a good place to start. I mean, I think obviously there's time, time in the boots, getting the feet ready,
Yep.
getting the fitness ready, getting the hopefully training with your team if you can. Sometimes that's easy, sometimes it's harder. Trying to have those, maybe the typical team techniques and sort of using the toe line and stuff. But there's, as you alluded to, some more specific things as well. What would you recommend, Emelise, to someone who hasn't done this race and they decide to sign up and go for it? What specifically should they do to get ready?
Well, certainly, as you mentioned, there's the whole sort of pure fitness and skiing side of that. I think exactly like you said, time in boots, getting into the mountains. I think what's really fun about a race like this is that the training is so fun. Like you get to go
Hmm.
backcountry. A full day on backcountry skis is incredible training for this race. It's not just about you know hamster wheel laps on the groomers. I am the first to sign up for that, though. I love that as well. But like, it's very fun to say, hey, a big day on skis with friends is like a great training day. And then certainly for me, as I mentioned, the technical elements, the glacier travel side of this race, where that was all new and all new skills that I need to learn. I think thinking about myself and a couple other folks who I remember doing this race, like um, definitely, CJ could maybe speak to the exact, there sort of like a handful of specific things we were tested on before the race and needed to know. I did find it really helpful to have someone who was really familiar with these skills, who I could practice them. We started in our living room. I remember having, belay rope and carabiners and everything set up, like hanging off our banister, so we could actually practice the crevasse rescue side of things. And so like definitely starting with the YouTube videos and then having someone, whether it's a friend or a guide or whoever, who can you can kind of pair with to practice those skills. And then before the race, we ended up going out a couple days early so that we could meet up with our team. Oh, actually, I remember being in CJ's backyard in Leavenworth,
Nice.
and like same thing. We had stuff hanging off the trees in their yard, and they're actually being able to practice those skills with the team. So I think it's all very doable, very learnable. And I would just say, if you are like me and had zero familiarity with these skills before, don't be intimidated. But it is just something that you need a few weeks or months of prep. It's not like a just a sign up and show up kind of race.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. And fun too. And I can imagine, being later in the season in May, most ski races have passed. Maybe you've been training, you've been racing. There's probably a chunk of time there where, maybe you're not actually skiing as much, but that's a good time to get on the YouTube University, start practicing these things alone with a teammate. If you haven't used ropes, get into a rock gym and practice with harnesses and all that kind of stuff. And like you said, find someone who can help you. What else, Chris? What would you advise to someone who wants to try this, and what should they have on their minds in terms of maybe two things? First of all, what should someone think about? Maybe they're hearing this. Maybe I want to do it. Maybe not. What are the factors to consider in signing up? And then if you do sign up, how do you actually get ready for it?
Yeah, I think if you're curious about it, sign up at least for the short course. So the and
Mm,
and the idea is find at least one. I think having an alternate or a backup is a great idea. So stack the roster for three, or if you're doing a long course, four people. Somebody's going to have something come up. But then go get out together. Like go practice, not just suffering, but finding flow together.
mm,
And if that is going and just training and doing some morning laps before work, or being able to go touring together, um, I think that this form of racing opens the door for a lot more people. I mean, being able to
mm.
go and race with your dear friend or your best girlfriend or your guys, like holy smokes, that changes the nature of training. You're just not suffering in a hole, grinding anymore.
Yeah.
You are getting prepared together, and I've found that sort of in my experience racing to change the game. All of a sudden, someone's calling you saying, "Hey, let's go hit the weights, or let's go on a long ski tour together." And you're psyched, you're talking, you know, all of a sudden you've got a posse to train with. And so, number one, sign up, and then number two, I think getting really comfortable with your equipment so you don't think about it anymore. A lot of times, when folks get into the sport, they're doing shorter races inside ski areas. But in a race of this nature, your boots got to be super comfortable and good
Yeah.
fitting, and your skin care and your systems, do need to be tighter. And so, being able to practice, managing all that, and better yet, doing it with one or two of those teammates and helping each other fuel, eat something every hour, find that pace in between you, and really just having a joy preparing. I mean, a big part of endurance is loving the process. And I think when you sign up with a teammate, like there you go, you're troubleshooting it with another brain. So yeah, I think
Nice.
the technical stuff, getting used to working through multiple pairs of skins and just being in a big mountain environment. Emily's covered glacier travel, getting good at 3-to-1 rescue systems, but that's about
Yep.
it.
Sweet. I love it. I'm hearing from both of you a lot of focus on the craft. These kind of races, there's just again, the if you want to win, you got to be super fit, and have the craft, and everyone else, you got to have good enough fitness, and then that craft is huge, and it's fun. And what's neat about a race with a lot of craft and thought, this is something you can always get better at. You can be the aging athlete who's done a lot of this and a lot of that. And maybe you're not going to be as fast as you once were, but you can actually keep getting better in terms of, this attention to detail and managing things and pacing and all that. It's really a great realm for exploration. So I love it, guys. The spirit of Skimo, the soul of Skimo. Here we are, the Kulshan Randonnée. I highly recommend it. I think it sounds great. I can totally imagine exploring it myself at some point. Even just thinking out loud as my kids get older, like if they end up liking
Exactly.
this and they want an epic adventure, like
Mhm.
what a cool avenue for an experience with one's children, with family, with close friends, etc. So snowgoatskimo.com. I think, is that the same Instagram as well? And where else should we find out about this online and elsewhere?
That's it. There is a standalone page for Kulshan. We just did a Q&A, kind of AMA style, for resources. And we also have a free agent. If people are looking to finish their team, we have a free agent sign up where if you need some help building a
Awesome.
team,
That's great.
do that. And certainly send us a message if you have any questions about sign up. We have a great racer guide. It's all packaged in the Kulshan page of Snow Goat Ski Mountaineering.
Nice. Cool. And free agent page, just so people know, I think that's a teammate finder, basically.
That's it.
And I
Teammate
would,
finder.
having, done many similar races and coached many athletes, check this out, guys, because very often, yes, this person starts as a stranger, but they're probably like-minded. If they put their name on there, they're probably pumped. They're willing to put in the time. Like, I've seen so many great teammates come about through things like this. So if you're at all interested, don't hesitate. And maybe you find your new best friend, or maybe you just find someone to go to have an awesome day with. Either way, it's sweet. Emily, any final thoughts from you?
Sign up, do it. It's I think it's as special as it gets as far as a skimo race experience, and yeah, I can't recommend it more highly.
Awesome. Well, thanks you guys. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
See you in Concrete, Washington.
Hey, folks, thanks as always for listening to Skimo Gold and or watching us on the YouTube. We are the premier podcast and YouTube show for ski mountaineering and race analysis. And that final piece, race analysis, it's coming at you. I hope that you heard our first race analysis with me and the one and only Katie Friend, longtime ISMF commentator. We broke down the Courchevel World Cup in detail, including that incredible sprint course with those 65 steep, icy, ridiculous stairs and the crazy bumps and twists and turns and jumps at the end of the course. If you haven't heard that episode, check it out, please. And if you're a diehard Skimo fan like me, you're going to want to follow these, because these World Cups these are an essential part of the story going into the Olympics. We had the Solitude in Utah, Courchevel in France, and then one more World Cup in Boitaoul, and that's going to be big as well. You're going to want to check out that recap, because Boitaoul has a sprint and a mixed relay, and I think that's a big piece. If you're following the American story, Cam Smith and Anna Gibson, our Olympic team, that'll be their final chance to do a mixed relay prior to the Olympics. So be sure to follow along. Check that out. I'm pumped about these race analysis episodes. I have a lot of fun doing them with Katie. And if you listen or watch, you will see why Katie Friend is really one of the best in terms of Skimo commentary. She knows all the stories. She knows the history. She brings the energy. She's got a great British accent. You just can't get away from the British accent. So anyway, check out our race analysis episodes. Check out our website, skimogold.com. Check us out on Instagram. That's at Skimo Gold. Cam Smith. Cam hasn't been doing as many of the episodes lately, and we know why. It's because Cam is training for the Olympics. That's a good job to have. So keep it up, Cam. Check him out on Instagram at Cam from CB. Check out the USA Skimo Association. They've got some fundraising and stuff going on. That's very important. So follow them. But man, I could go on and on. There's a lot of energy going into the Olympics. And for the Olympics, I'm kind of rambling, but I want to tell you this. We got a huge package coming up. Episodes every single day during the Olympic period. Many of those interviews are already recorded, and they are with the contenders, Oriol Cardona Cole. I just talked with Giulia Murata, Alba de Silvestro. Those are both Italian women. We got Tatiana Poller from Germany. We've got various commentators and experts. It's a big package. I'm really excited to bring it to you. So if you're into this sport already, or even if you're just getting in, make sure you subscribe on YouTube and your podcast player, because we're coming at you daily. It's been a lot of work already. It's going to be a lot more work. Anthony Palmer and the team at Palm Tree Podco are crushing the details and getting this stuff out. So a lot coming at you in the Olympics. All right, folks, that's enough for now. We'll catch you next time on Skimo Gold.